Hello Flosstube, my name is Laura and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see and I would love to know more about what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me. So this is actually the second time I'm filming. I, excuse me, had a whole video filmed. I have attempted to upload it and it just doesn't want to upload. So rather than trying to keep trying that, it doesn't seem to be working. I had all my notes. It was easy to grab everything. They might be a little bit more wrinkled than they were this morning, but you know, hey, that's all right. We're just going to go with it. So if I feel like I'm saying some things all over again, hopefully I don't mess up too badly. But thank you for being here. And obviously that would be why it's probably later than you're normally seeing my video go up. Alrighty, so before I start, here is my little piece that I'm showing today behind me. This was a piece by Hello from Liz Matthews. It's called Yonder, and I thought for springtime it's a perfect piece to put out because, you know, it's green and springy and all that fun stuff. And I had a lot of fun stitching it, and then it was a really easy full finish for scrapbooking. I just took the colors, added some contrasting pieces of cardstock, and it's good to go. So that will hang out with us right here, right there. I think that was my first Liz Matthews that I've ever stitched, and I really did enjoy it. Okay, so this week I have 13 projects to show you. I had done kind of like a stitch along week. If you remember, or maybe you weren't here last week, I had on April 1st, I had, instead of April Fool's Day, I had April Friends Day, and I held a stitching Zoom that anybody was welcome to, and it kicked off my week of stitch along stitching. So many of my stitch alongs make me think of different stitching friends, and so I thought it would be really fun to just devote a whole week to that. And so we started the weeks. Part of last week's video would have been the beginning of SAL week, and then we continued SAL week through the 7th. And then because I have a lot of projects that are stitch alongs, I kind of just sort of get going with it, not necessarily always trying to do that, but it worked out that every piece I have, I could actually tie back to a stitch along of some sort. So that's a lot of fun. So let's just get started with this, shall we? All right, very first one here. I am doing, if I need my pictures, and I need to go, nope, I need to go to my different folder. There we go. Scroll down. This is a fairly new piece. I started this one in, oh, there it is, February. Every February, Carla from Carla Being Crafty has a stitch along that she hosts that is hashtag BEE, Be My Own Valentine. And so basically Carla asks us to find something with a bee on it and stitch it. And this year, this is the one I chose. I have happily been participating. I think this is my fourth year. So that's a lot of fun. This is from the SubRosa. I don't know if that's the entire name of the designer. So I always say SubRosa, but then when I went online, I think I was on Etsy earlier. Let me see if it says it here. And it said the SubRosa on Etsy on the shop, but maybe they did that just for the shop. Yeah, SubRosa, just designed by SubRosa. So maybe it could be either one of those. But here we are. This is my first one from that designer, and I absolutely love it. I made a tiny mistake. The wings of the bee are supposed to be a different color than the body of the bee. Well, I looked at the pattern and I probably just willfully didn't notice that. I just probably assumed the wings were going to be the same color, the outline of them. And I just did them all that same yellow. They were supposed to be this lighter yellow. I love it this way. So I have no plans on taking that out. And in fact, I put a note because this will be mirrored over here. I made a note to do the exact same thing on this side. So this bee will be the same. This is 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I did have to, I believe this was charted in Weeks Dye Works and only Weeks Dye Works. So I did go online and Googled the charts and used all DMC, and I changed it to all different DMCs. There might be a time or two I might have changed what the chart said because it went with the vibe a little bit better. But I just find this one really peaceful to stitch on. I know necessarily these colors aren't always what you see from me, but when I stitch it on the Friendship Green, I just find it a very soothing stitch. So I'm enjoying it. And that means hopefully there'll be more SubRosa designs. I did buy 2 bee patterns when I bought this leading up to the stitch along, and I couldn't decide which one I was going to do. And so I have that other one as well, which is also an option. Sorry that normally when I film, I have Do Not Disturb on, and it is, for some reason, it turned itself off, and now there's texts that are going to come up. So if I all of a sudden midstream don't know what I'm saying, it's because something popped up and completely distracted me. I was so distracted this morning and the brain was still waking up, so maybe this will be better at this point. So that was Carla's stitch along. Hashtag BEE, my own Valentine SAL. I don't always remember the hashtags, but I will remember at least what the SAL is and who potentially hosted it. Now, I have a whole list that of people I talked about earlier today. Hopefully, I say them all again this time. If I don't, I'm just going to put them in there because they mean something to all of these stitches, and hopefully I can remember what that was. This next piece here is Blue Rhapsody by Rosewood Manor. I started this one in December of 2023. Beth the Steadfast Stitcher, she's born in December, and so she has held birthday stitch-alongs. And last year in 24, she changed it to, I think she's going to carry that through. So keep an eye out. I can't remember the hashtag, but that'll be fun because then there'll be a recurring December stitch to celebrate her birthday. This one, it might have been something like Rosewood Manor Birthday SAL, but I'm not 100%. Beth started 2 beautiful different pieces of Rosewood Manor. I just love the colors of this one, so this is the one I started. Now this one is also charted in Just Weeks Dye Works, so I kind of just picked 2 DMCs that I thought looked pretty similar. Now that's washing it out. It's a dreary, awful day today. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get the exact color of this. It's definitely darker in person. Sometimes you'll see people when they go backwards, it helps, but that's not 100% helping. This is 18 Count Darling David by Those Missing Stitches. And I used 336 and 931. And I really like the combination of those colors. I think they work nicely. Earlier today, that big old spot wasn't there. Oh gosh. Anyway, when I started, I did 2 different sessions this week stitching on it. The first one, I did all of this. And in fact, that's all just 336. And then there's a little element here that has 2 different, both colors on there, but there's a lot of counting and I kind of wasn't feeling it. So when that happens, I go back to the tried and true and I start doing some of the alphabet. And that's what I did here. I know I did the entire L. I think this is supposed to be the start of the V. All the main base part of the letters is the lighter color, which I'm using 931. And then you go back and you add in the spots the deeper color, in this case 336. So I did some of outline and then I did some fill in of the letters too. I figured that's always a nice thing where if my brain's not really wanting to look at the pattern too closely, that's a nice easy thing to do. And I have a whole bunch of alphabet still left to do, so I've got a while yet to do that. So that is Blue Rhapsody. Now you've seen that a few times over the last few weeks. So I'm wondering at this point, it may end up being put aside. We'll see. If it fits a challenge, you know that I do like to work on the challenges and I do pull out different things because of that. And so one never knows. This next one here was a stitch along I had started. I had said I had wanted to stitch this, and several of you had said, oh, you'd like to stitch it too, or you had it, and so on and so forth. It's called Wings of Change by Silver Creek Samplers. And we got together and we started stitching it. And this is what mine looks like. I know many of you have got it finished and it looks so pretty. I have seen it stitched with a purple flower and it's beautiful. So if you would prefer that kind of color scheme, absolutely go for it. You only need, if you want to do an entire change, even with the alphabet, you would need a light, a medium, and a dark of some sort of family in the color shade, and you could just change it up however you wanted. This is 18 count Bell Bottom Blues by Hand Dyed by Rolanda. She doesn't always name, in fact, I'd say about, it's 50-50. Oops, something just fell. It's 50-50 as to whether or not mine have names. I don't know if when they're named, if that means she will replicate them or not. I get Rolanda's fabrics from Etsy, and so I just happen to go by, ooh, that's pretty. Sometimes it names, sometimes it doesn't. Our hashtag for this one is hashtag butterfly wings SAL. So if you'd like to join, no time is too late. If you see here, this greenery, I decided I really need to start digging into that, and so that's what I did, mostly here and then a little bit here. But that's remember last week, it's more than you think. I was going to title last week's video that, and then I just was like, I don't know if that's appropriate or not, so I didn't. I am using my own variegated orange for this, and I tried it just to see a little bit, but I know that's going to be the fun part, so I stopped, and I said I need to come here. And I do have a counting error here that I think I can fudge, but I didn't feel like it. So again, I'm like, just do some greenery. My guess is I will continue to challenge myself to continue the greenery for a little bit, just to get more of it done. And that way, I like doing generally the letters, but not when I have a mistake, but for the most part, and that's going to be fun. I am using all DMCs though, besides just that butterfly. So everything else would be DMC. And I think some of it, usually Silver Creek has some DMCs, some variegated, but she does usually give a DMC alternative. And most of the time I will go with what she suggested. Okay, what's next here? All right, this next one here. I had patterns that were in two different sections, so I have them in two different places. I think I remember the page number on this. Yes. Next piece here came from the Christmas Just Cross Stitch 2024 Christmas holiday issue. 2024 special holiday issue. You know it. We did a flip through a few months ago. And I had started this stitch along. It's called Peaceful Path. So because, you know, it's easy just to slap a little hashtag sign on it, it's hashtag Peaceful Path Sal. Now this design right here is designed by Sunny Lofstrom of Three Tiny Owls. And you'll notice I do have some written notes here. The magazine in their printing, and I don't know what happens like with magazines, if they do subsequent printings afterwards or how that works, but they had accidentally switched white and ecru with the symbol. So if you do stitch this, just check your symbol key and make sure you grab that so that you don't have your colors mixed up. But this is a fun full coverage if you'd like to try one and you've not done them before. It's 70 by 70. So it's a nice smaller piece and there's not a ton of confetti. So you can take pieces of your floss or whatever, take a strand of your color and just take it where it needs to go and then go to the next one. So that's what I have here. And where I am now is actually going to be a little hard to see because it's blending in right now a little bit with my fabric, but that's all going to be covered. And so in the end, it's going to look great, I think. This is just a scrap that I pulled out of my scrap basket. I have a basket when things get too small, I throw them in there. And I'm trying really hard when I have small pieces to look in that first before I cut up a bigger piece. Let me come up because it's hard to see. But there is a row of a lighter blue all the way there, kind of with the mountain look. And I've got all of that up finished. There is some white that is stitched there too. And then I think I just took one of the colors that I was stitching over here down, and this had already been done. And I think what I might try to do in some cases is just continue to work my way down. If I have some color, I might jump a bit, but it's so small that it would be nice to just come like that. When I do full coverage, I think most of you know by now, I don't have a particular way of doing it. It's really just organized chaos is the way I like to think of it. And it's pretty much whatever I feel like doing. So maybe we have a plan, maybe we don't. But there are some really fun full coverage stitches now in Just Cross Stitch magazine that I really enjoyed, or I am enjoying, and so there might be some more if you'd like to join me on those, along with some of the other stitches that they have. All right, now I have a finish. I'm excited on this one. Where's my iPad? Last time I pulled this out, I realized that I didn't have a ton. Now, you think that, right? And then 400, 500 stitches later, you're like, wow, that was more than I thought it was. But, okay, where is this one? I did not take it. Oh, here it is. I hadn't deleted it from my pile yet. You've seen this recently. It's Hello Summer from Erin Elizabeth Designs. And I am changing this up. So I'm not doing the words Hello Summer. I'm strategic in sometimes if it is integral to the design, like the last piece you'll see me show today, I keep it. If it's not, I don't necessarily always keep it. And in this case, I felt like I could still have a really pretty picture without the words. I did shrink it slightly to make everything come closer because it's put where it is to get the letters in. And I think I brought the sun slightly down. So I tried to keep as much of the picture as I could, and except for losing a little bit of the sand and rotating how the birds are flying, I think I did a pretty good job. So that's my final finish on this piece. I was able to keep the crab and the seagull, which I wanted to, and like I said, this area of the sand I had to finagle a bit, but all of this is exactly the same as it was. I just had to decide how I wanted to put here in the boat and here in the lighthouse because that was covered up with some writing. So this is an 18 count Lotus from Bestitchme, and how it kind of matches with a stitch along. This one, it wasn't my initial lighthouse piece for the hashtag Let Your Lighthouse Shine, SAL, but I kind of piggybacked on that with this piece, along with the other one you're going to see in a few projects from now. I did keep all of the called for colors beside, so let me show you side by side what they look like, what the original is. If you want something a little bit bigger and you want the words, it's beautiful. If you want something a little smaller, you can do it without the words if you want. So that's what it looks like. I might make this into kind of like a little leaner. You know how I like to do leaners. I could stick a hanger on it if I wanted to hang it, but I think what I'll do initially is not, but give myself the option to at some point. So one last chance to look at that. Now I just want to find a really fun little bit backing fabric behind that, and then we'll be good to go. It's exciting. I like getting finishes. All right, so let's put that one over there. And where's the magazine? Where am I? Oh, nope, that's the iPad. Okay, we're good. Okay. I think so far I've said everything I needed to say. Let me see. Yeah, I think I have. Alrighty, so let's just move on. This next piece is the first of 2 dragon pieces. Oh, and this one I don't have a picture on the iPad. What I did realize, and in the end, it's not going to matter. I do not have the most current, I didn't bother printing out the most current picture of the Empyrean SAL from Forbidden Fiber Co. because I'm way behind. So I decided I don't really need to keep printing out that picture at this point in time. When I get to it, or when it's finished, is probably when I'll do the full final piece. So I'm going to show you, this would be almost 2 weeks old at this point. This doesn't include the latest drop, and this coming Monday, so 3 days from now, then the next drop will come. So this is what it looked like up to when I have a picture. This is Forbidden Fiber Co. Empyrean SAL. So there's the stitch along piece of it. I know that Mandy Parker is stitching it. Leanne from Small Town Stitches, she started it after the fact, and she's just zipping. She's going really good on it. And then I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh, Catherine. So Catherine has an Instagram account, and she was on our Zoom, and she showed her progress. She is keeping all the way up, and she's doing phenomenal. I can't remember 100% her Instagram. I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say it and be wrong. So what I'm going to do is in the description box, I always list the different floss tubers that I mention, and sometimes the links are not clickable. I am not sure how that happens. I do the same exact thing. Some videos they're clickable, some videos they're not. But at the very least, you have their name. You can put it in the search bar and go. But I will also usually try to find the Instagram accounts of people I mentioned that I know that wouldn't have a floss tube. And Catherine, I will link hers because she may, gosh, I don't know. I haven't looked at Instagram. She may be completely done with the next drop if you want to see the full thing. Here's where mine is. Now, I splurged and I did get the fabric and the floss. You can just get the PDF and then do your own thing. But I thought it'd be fun. I don't do mystery stitch alongs that often. I don't do boxes that often. And we all know how much I love Fourth Wing. So I just thought it was fun to do. I keep each time doing a little bit more of the words. The letters are easy, but for some reason, I just keep jumping to other things. I'm almost at the edge here. All I need is the second half of the word tragedy. So you're thinking that's about as wide as it's going to be, right there. And that's as tall. And I think it's the same exact height as there. So not humongous, but a nice good size. So I did some of the letters, and then I did do Basgaia, except for the H. So I have to go back and do that. That drop of words, it looks like it's super easy. So I'll probably next time work on some of that. I'd like to finish this and get this line across. That way, here we have Segale and the lightning bolts. Over here we have the lightning and Taryn. When I did this, I actually flipped it upside down and stitched down like this. I have two options. I can either count off of the word Basgaia, I'll see how that goes, or I can flip it over and start doing some of the lightning bolts again. We'll see. But I think I'm going to concentrate a lot more up top here before I work down here. I also have the hilt of one dagger, and I'll have a huge row of daggers to do at some point. That might be kind of like if I have some strands on my needle left, go and do that and go back and forth. We've started with, there's 2 boxes that were dropped this week, and they were words, so that'll be some, some quotes. So that will be interesting too. So that's what it looks like. And I will try to continue to put a little bit in each week. Catherine, who has been keeping up, had said that a lot of the drops were up to this last one. I don't know about this last one with the boxes of quotes, was between 700 and 1,000 stitches a drop. There's no way I'm keeping up with that, and I'm okay with that. I have no problem, no qualms about being behind. It'll probably be months before it's finished, but if I just plug away, at least while it's active. Once it's finished, it may not get weekly work done on it, and that's okay too. It's just for fun, and it may take me until the 4th book in the series comes out, and that's all right too. We have 2 more books in the series, so there's plenty of time to stitch it. So that was that stitch. Okay, staying on the theme of dragons. I have not stitched this one in a while, and I really like this one. It was more fun doing the dragon part. This part's not as much fun, but that's okay. This is Celtic Dragon, and it's by 2x2 stitch art. I have stitched the dragon, if you've been here with me, and you all convinced me that I should do the moon because I wasn't sure. I'm still writing off the outer border. Who knows? Once the moon is done, I might be kind of thinking, oh, I want that. Now, given my fabric, that could be an issue, so that may make my decision for me. This was my hashtag Year of the Dragon SAL. All of us started stitching dragons in February of 2024 because that was officially the start of the Year of the Dragon. And I just like stitching dragons, so there'll always be dragons, I think. So that's where I am. This is 18 count, what is this? Phoenix from Bestitchme. Now, if you follow me, you know I do I Spy, and this fulfilled the I Spy prompt for mythical creature, because a magical dragon, I feel like, is kind of mythical. I had the tiniest bit done of the moon, really. So all of this, again, more than you think. And then I did all of this up here, the border. I am using variegated floss, but it is not highly variegated. The dragon is done in She's So Blue by Roxy Floss Co. And that is a little bit more variegated. You may not see it on the screen, but I can see it in person. And I didn't really do anything fancy or fussy with it. I kind of just let it go and let's see what happens. This part I'm using Planetarium from Roxy Floss Co. And because I don't know, I kind of wing it with variegated floss, to be honest with you. I just come and go with it. It's not highly variegated, so I thought it was fine to kind of do the border, and then, you know, what's gonna be cool is it's not, thank goodness, a straight full moon all the way. It's got a beautiful design in it as well. And so I'll start to outline some of that. Is that what you do with variegated floss? I'm fine with it. It's gonna be great. And I needed guidance. So I did go with that. But you can see up here, there's not a lot of room. So that's the top. But then we'd have another set for the border. So you're talking about a very small margin, which may or may not be a problem because I don't know what's happening with it. But that's where that one is. And I just love this Phoenix. You know, when you get these, I think I probably got this as a fabric of the month. And you get the fabric and you don't know exactly what it's gonna be used for. But then I saw this piece and I wanted to stitch it. I'm modeling that off of Segale, Zayden's Dragon. That's why I chose the blue floss. And there was just something about the colors that I thought, that's perfect. And I had it. So that's why I like fabric of the months, because it gets me to have some fabrics that I may never buy. And then when I have that vision in my head, I already have the piece that I can use. This is the other Lighthouse piece I was talking about. It's just called Lighthouse, and it is from Cottage Garden Samplings. It is number 8 in the Fabulous House series. I also have Santa's House started, but I'm stalled on that one. I'm not sure why, but and I like the stitch and all, but yeah, for some reason I'm a little stalled. This one though, I decided to pull out again because, again, hashtag let your lighthouse shine. I had seen that there was multiple people that were hosting it, but I know for a fact Andrew, the runner stitcher, was one of the hosts, and he was stitching a carriage house sampling stitch. He finished it. I know, I can see it in my mind because I stitched it, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it. It was so lovely. But the idea was to stitch anything with the lighthouse. And so I started stitching this. I think you know by now, I like nautical, beachy, lighthouse pieces. So there's always something either ready to be stitched or already in progress. So that's what I went with. And this is 18 count Compelling Conchis, yep, from Those Missing Stitches. And I didn't have it in me to do this over here. So I said, you know what? We're going to start bringing down some more of the lighthouse. And that's what I did. I think next time what I might do if I have some white is to finish off at least the top border. And this is the bottom. So you can see I've already gotten to about there, maybe here, because I have to do some water. That might be the other thing I do. So then I've got my 3 corners. If you haven't learned by now with me, I really like that 3-corner visual. And then I start working my way through the pieces there. I am using all the DMC at the moment. With the whale, I am going to use the Cauldron from Classic Colorworks. I was very sweetly gifted that, very nicely gifted that. And I didn't bother, it's up here too, but I said, I don't want that there. I want it in this section to really let that pop out. So up here, I'm just using the DMC with it. And I love it. So much fun. And again, there's lots to this that I could probably use for challenges. Oh, one of my challenges for I Spy is water. So maybe I'll put, well, I have a lot with water. If I don't pull something else out, maybe this will come out again and I can do it again and have to do water. We'll see. Okay. What is next? Where's my notes here? Oh, yes. This is not, it wasn't slated for its rotation, but it was a stitch along and I like stitching it. And I said, I really want to get this one finished by the end of June. So we got to find ways to pull it out. And that's Fish and Ships from, hair sticking out a little bit, from Long Dog Samplers. Fish and Ships. And it's a smaller one. It's my first Long Dog, which I thought, I'm happy with myself that I went with a smaller piece, to be honest with you. I really do enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I think I would love to stitch more of them, but some of them are so big and I have big pieces. So let's just roll with this one. And I have my 3 corners and I'm getting so close. So here, that's it. This section right here. And I think I have some stray back stitch to still do. I'm stitching this. It doesn't have an official name. It's an 18 count. It was part of a blue-green pack that was sold by Dying for Cross Stitch. You got a set of 3. And I got it right before New Year's 2024, because it was a New Year, New Start in January of 2024. And as soon as I saw it, I loved it. And I said, well, if I'm going with this color, then I want to do white. And I decided to try Floche. Floche is spelled F-L-O-C-H-E, if you're wondering. It's made by DMC. It's a little thicker than the straight DMC skeins that we get. So I do use the 1 strand. For the back stitch, though, I am using sulky white because I did try back stitching with the Floche and it's too bulky. And you miss kind of the idea of the back stitch there. It kind of fluffs up and is just a little too much. I started this with Amy of Renewing Stitches. Amy had a little bit of an unfortunate snafu, but she didn't let it get to her. She decided she was going to turn around that snafu and make something completely different with her stitches with this piece. I'm not going to tell you what. You have to go over to Renewing Stitches and check Amy out and see what she did. She's not completely finished. I think she has a little bit more to do. And it's just genius. So hers will look vastly different than mine, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then I also know Megan from Georgia Girl Stitching. Megan is stitching this. She is not stitching this outer border, which if I thought about it, I don't know if I would, but I had already started it, and at this point, I'm going with it. I don't know how this is going to be finished, so I'm not going to worry whether or not the border's straight at this point in time. I can't remember Megan's fabric color. I think she did go with the blue as well. Megan's last video, I don't think had this. I don't know when we've last seen it, but like everybody else, I'll link her down below so you can see her beautiful stitching. But here's mine. It will come out in a couple weeks for its official rotation of 500. I don't remember what I did on it. I tried to give each piece like 200 to 300 stitches of all of these stitch along pieces for SAL week, just to get some work on them. And yeah, lots of fun. With the Floche, one thing I do remember saying in the last video, be very careful where you buy it. Last time I bought it, it was 1, 2, 3 stitch, and it was between $6 and $7. I'm sure it's on Etsy and all of that too. I'd never really searched it. I think at one point I was searching on Amazon. They were charging, some sellers were charging up to $15 for that skein. That is 2.5 times what I paid for it. So please do check your prices so that you don't get, you know, somebody charging you way more than other places. Alrighty. Now this next piece here, we just started this. So you saw me start this a few weeks ago. And I started it with a bunch of friends. So Karen from the Stitching Owl, Amy from Renewing Stitches, Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner, Karen D, our fellow Canadian friend, and Rachel Q joined us as well. Rachel Q Stitches. Am I forgetting anybody? If I am, I will put them in the description box as well for who is stitching it. And I know Barb on my Facebook page is stitching Butterflies 1, and it's beautiful. This is Butterflies 2. Now, at some point, I will probably stitch 1 as well, especially if she keeps showing her beautiful progress, because it's really nice and they're a lot of fun, but I'm not doing it until this one's finished. I'm really proud though of my progress this week, this time around. This is 18 count white. It's full coverage. I am doing the full thing. Now, some of those friends that are stitching it with me are stitching it just the circle part, and I think they're going to hoop finish it, whereas I have decided to do the all 4 corners, and a few people are undecided. So you'll see a little bit of everything version wise, and we've all started in different spots depending on what we're doing too. So that's kind of neat. I think I got a good 500 stitches on this week. One night, I think I said it was not a great night outside. We had finished dinner early, and I just went to town stitching on it. This is on Pattern Keeper, so it does go faster. It's really easy to read. Now, don't mistake that for easy easy to make mistakes. It is still easy to make mistakes. I've had to frog twice. It's so fun to stitch. It's big blocks. You take a strand, you go with it. Sometimes you can do 2 or 3. You've got the black outline. It's all lined up in Pattern Keeper, and yet I still made a few mistakes. So it's possible, highly possible. I started to bring in some more of the green, the purple. I finished up some more of the blues. I am going back and forth between the black and then the colors. I don't have the mental discipline to do the entire outline with black before I would be hopelessly bored and would put it aside and not want to stitch it. So I am kind of doing the combination with the two. And that's where it is. I was thinking I would do 100 stitches a day this month with this, but the backup plan was to do Hidden Harbor, and I've really been wanting to stitch that. So I don't know because that's the full coverage then that I'm giving 100 stitches a day to, at least minimum. So we'll see. This one may get some time, but it might not be quite as much as I thought, because I keep changing my mind from week to week. It depends on what I feel like stitching. Alrighty, this next piece here. And so Butterflies 2, so Fish and Chips, I don't think we had a hashtag, but I stitched it with a bunch of friends, so I considered it a stitch along. And then Butterflies 2 is hashtag stitch all the butterflies. So that way, any butterfly piece, you can just join us and stitch along. Alrighty, where is this next one? This next piece here is Cinderella from Lina Ova. Now, I originally started this in January for Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe, her birthday SAL stitch along. Allison is a huge fan of princesses, and so I think it's hashtag Princess Birthday SAL. And it also goes with the hashtag Lina Ova SAL, because I started one of those as well. Because this is Lina Ova. I have 2 Lina Ovas going, and then I have a couple others that I'd like to stitch. Now, I am stitching the entire piece on this. What's really fun about Lina Ova, these types of patterns, is you can pick and choose. The next piece you're going to see, I took out the border. I'm not doing that. You could just do certain squares. If you wanted to do just the square with Cinderella, you could do that, or maybe the words, or however you wanted. So that's what's really nice about these. They can be as big or as small as you want them to be. Yes, my borders are that tight. I decided to do it anyway because this was the perfect color of what I had in my mind. And I decided to run with it. Luckily, both sides are serged. I do not have to worry about fraying or anything like that. So that's the whole piece. I didn't work on this side at all. I think I did bring it up along here. This month, so one of the other groups I am part of is Whip Warriors. And the first weekend of each month, they have something called the Focus Challenge. And so I think it's it's after 4 o'clock on one day to 4 o'clock on the next. So it's either 4 or 5 days, depending on how you count them, right? And you try to get as many stitches in on a specific piece. You do a before and after picture because with Warriors is participation required. And then you get credit for how much you stitched. I was able to get in 1,531 stitches, and most of it, I started here a little bit. I did more of this top kind of borderline, but then I also did quite a bit on this side. I did this entire section is new. I did more of this and started to bring that down. This Lina Ova patterns go in very easily to Pattern Keeper, so it makes it super easy for me to do. And you can just plug along. Because I'm doing it monochromatic, I don't have to worry about where I want to change colors. So on this one, I'm doing 3325 is the DMC color I'm using. I just pick strand after strand and just keep going with it. But as you can see, like everything else, full coverage, I jump around. I can't concentrate in one section. Now, I originally did stitch all the way to this side to make sure I had done my math correctly and that it would, in fact, actually fit. Because that would have been a bummer if I had done all of one section and then not. I mean, the other option was to take out the roses, the flowers in the border. But in this case, I really liked it and I felt like it went with the pattern. So I did keep it. That fulfilled the I Spy prompt of starts with C. Okay, we'll put that over here now. What is next? The next one is my other Lina Ova that is currently active. And where is it? Here it is. It's Mary Poppins. This is what it originally is if you were to, as you buy it. I didn't, as beautiful as the border is, it didn't call to me as matching the pattern as much as the Cinderella one did. So if I zoom in a bit, I'm not doing any of the border and I'm just doing these inner borders. That will be enough for my pattern, and then all of this inner stuff right here. I'm also doing this one monochromatically. I know some people are not huge fans of monochromatic. I love it. I find it so meditative and so relaxing. And like I said, you pick a strand and you just keep going. And it just, calms the mind. Not a bad thing. So there we go. Now, this is 18 count Uranus from Under the Sea Fabrics. Cinderella was an unknown fabric. I am devastated I don't have a tag on that because I love that blue. And I'm always looking for kind of a nice navy to do instead of black. And that one would have been perfect. But sadly, I don't know where I got it. And I don't know what its name is, even if I did know where I got it. I am using 939 on this. So it's that deep, deep blue that almost looks black. I thought this fabric kind of spoke Mary Poppins London to me. I don't know why, but it did. And then because I went with that, I said I want to do a dark floss color to match it. I didn't do any over here on this side. I worked all the way exclusively on this side, worked all the way down in this border. This is where the border turns, and then you'll have a small thin section here. And then I concentrated a lot on this building as well as the border. So a lot of it was just right here. There's quite a bit of, it works in Pattern Keeper, but you still really have to pay attention. Those buildings, if you look, are they're going to look so cool. It's already looking cool, but they're pretty intricate. Oh, that's as big as it's going to go. And so I really kind of have to pay attention when I'm doing those. So it goes a little bit slower. I had kind of gotten into a groove here with the border of figuring out how to do it. So it went a little faster. I'll have to rethink what I'm doing across this way, but that's all right. And then if I want something a little bit easier, I'll come over to this side. So this was the official week for this. So it did get its 500 stitches. It's going away now. I think, well, it's one of the Quakers. I think it's Spring Quaker, but I don't remember first. It's either Spring or Summer Quaker from Lila's Studio that's up next. Not sure which one. I guess we'll all just have to wait to find out. Alrighty, my last piece. This one I stitched, I had lots of card time on Tuesday. So technically, the hashtag that I'm using for this one is Monochromatic Monday. Technically, I stitched it this week on Tuesday, but it is the way it is. I'm using that hashtag because I am not stitching it like this. I'm stitching it monochromatically. If you remember, I did Spring Awakens, and I used DMC Floche 319, doing the same thing on this, just changing out the fabric. And the fabrics that I'm choosing, I'm trying to think of ones that kind of match the season. So this one is Summer Refreshes, and look at this beautiful purple, not purple, oh my goodness, yellow, oh my, I don't know what's gonna come out of my mouth next. Lemon, 18 count lemon from Bestitchme. I had gotten this, I think, in a ready to ship. She might have done, the last one she did might have been like pastel-y spring colors. It's beautiful. I love it. I think I might need some more of this. I think that 319 goes beautifully on it. And I did so much because this one I find, I enjoyed spring. I love the summer stitch. None of this on the side was here before. So I did all of this over here, the entire border. I only have a few more. It comes down here. I did the entire line here, you know, that also did that with the bird. All of that's lined up so far. And then I did the top half of the bottom border here. And the lower half will go really quickly because then it's just zigzag line. I had thought about doing, when I first pulled it out, I thought about doing the house, but I'm in the car. I don't have, you know, the setup where I could have it closer to see. There was a lot more counting here, ironically, than there was in this border. This border had a really fun kind of just an easy design to just keep replicating. And it doesn't change at all the entire way down. So in the end, I decided all of this made a lot more sense than the house. But you can see that's the width, you know, the height and the width of it. We're almost with the fourth corner. There's one big flower here along with the house and then the words. Now, all four of these seasons I do want to put in the scrapbook. And so as a collection, I'm not particularly pushing for a finish by summer so I can have it showing, you know, by summer or whatever, things like that. But if I'm enjoying it, I'm just going to keep stitching it and keep going, right? And then just have fun with it. And then I can pull out either autumn or winter, I suppose. It really doesn't matter. I think whichever one I figure out what color fabric that I want to use first, they're all going to get the 319. So again, it's cohesive. If you remember a few years ago, I did that with Jardin Privé, the Quaker seasons. And they are all scrapbooked together as a collection already. I scrapbooked them a few months ago. Well, the end of last year, I believe it was. So that is my stitching. That's what I have. What are my plans? We have Dark 13 stitching coming soon because today's the 11th. So Sunday will be the 13th. I'll pull out 1 or 2 Halloween pieces. Then I'm still going to work on I Spy. I'm going to work on the challenges for the acrostics that I'm doing. I think with Warriors, maybe they'll do something else. I'm not doing their word game right now. We'll see what else I kind of do and kind of go from there. I'm enjoying seeing everybody else's spring go, but I am not participating in that this time around. I'm also looking for a pretzel stitch. If you watch Melanie and Michael over at Uplift Stitches, Michael is a huge pretzel fan, and April 26th, I believe, I have to look that up, is National Pretzel Day. And so he has invited all of us to find a pretzel stitch and stitch pretzels along with him. I've done my searching. I think I have it narrowed down to a soda stitch, but I'll make my final decision, and then hopefully next week I can show you what pattern I've chosen, and then I have to figure out fabric and all of that good stuff. But check out some pretzel stitches if you want to join Michael on that adventure. Alrighty, let me see here. What else am I what else am I talking about? That's it for, I think that's it for, oh, the only other thing for plans, I had received this from Paddock Lane Designs from Lisa. I can take this part out just to show you. And she had sent me the entire kit. And so I am thinking about starting that. I thought that would be a lot of fun. I'd like to stitch one of her Paddock Lane designs. So there is that. Other than that, we're just winging it. We'll see what happens. Alrighty, shopping. Now, you know that this year I haven't done a ton of extra shopping. I've got my fabric of the months. And then when Lynn from Those Missing Stitches puts out her new fabric colors, you know I go crazy for the fabrics and all of that. But I did no pre-ordering from Market, and I felt like my budget's been pretty good, you know, pretty low in the sense of I haven't really used a lot of it. So in our adventures on Tuesday, Mo and I were out all day, and at one point later on in the day, I was able to go to Floss and Flame. Where is the card? So Floss and Flame is a pretty new cross stitch store. Jen sells candles and cross stitch, hence the name Floss and Flame. She makes the candles herself. And it's a fun little store that I said I wanted to go shopping at. I had found out that Jen had gone to Market, so she did have Market releases, and I just wanted to see some things in person. So I did go a little crazy, but I figured I hadn't bought a lot yet this year, so I was entitled. Now, I do want to say, I've only ever been to Floss and Flame once before. I went, I think, the first day Jen opened. And, you know, that's a different experience, right? There were people there interviewing Jen, and there was pictures and, you know, all sorts of stuff going on. And she was still very lovely and gracious. There was a lot. When you start a brand new business, oh my goodness, just nerves and happiness and jitters and giddy and all that. So this is the first time I've been able to stop by since then. And I can't tell you, Jen is the nicest person. You know, when you go into a store and they are just happy to see you as a person, that you are there, and they welcome you and they smile and they are just warm and enveloping and giving you just, you know, just being friendly. That is Jen. And I have to say, it makes me want to go back again and again to her store because she was just such a wonderful, lovely person. I would have stayed longer, but Mo was in the car waiting for me. So I stayed as long as I thought I could. And we hadn't had lunch yet. We were going for like a late lunch. We had snagged some fruit or something before that. And so I was like, oh, he's going to be hungry, and figured I could have stayed all afternoon just talking with Jen. So Jen, I'll be back at some point so we can chat, and I will bring some stitching and all of that. All right. So what did I buy? I bought a good amount of stuff. If you don't like this, just fast forward if you want to hear life. If you don't care about my life either, then you're good to go. We will see you next time. All right. So like many people, I did buy the, what is it called? Night Garden? The Threadworks pack. I did not buy any of the Night Garden pieces. There are some really cute ones. And who knows at one point, but I just liked these colors, to be perfectly honest with you. And you know me, I just throw things in whenever I feel. So if I want one of these colors, then maybe I will use them. Who knows? Well, I know I will, but who knows when you'll see them. So that was fun. I thought, I like these. And these are like 20 yards or something. Yeah, they are. So that's a nice chunk of floss. I thought that was a good deal. Then I was shopping, and the irony of this is I didn't notice this till I checked out. I bought two fabrics that are essentially almost the same color, but I'm kind of digging that vibe right now, so I went with it. This first one is Atomic Ranch fabrics, and it's called Thorn. That's what it looks like. Just a tiny bit darker. This is fairly solid. This is not a modeled piece of fabric, but it's just a really pretty solid color. I think of it as like a take mauve and take purple and make both of them light. And that's what I think of with this one. And I was loving it. So I picked that up. And then as I was walking around, I'd find things, and I had seen this fabric. Now this is from Lap and Loops, and I forgot to, Jen cut this for me, and I forgot to put what label this. So I don't know what this is called. I'll look it up and then put it in the description box. This one is more mottled, but around the same color scheme. It's darker in person than you're seeing it, and not the white spots are not that white. And then when I was checking out, Jen had a whole slew of classic Colorworks mold berries just at her checkout center. I'm not sure what she was using, if she was bringing, putting them in or whatever. But I said, oh, that's pretty. And look at this. So now I need to figure out a piece, and I might do those colors. Or I could bring in this purple or something along those lines. I just thought that was fun. So I just picked up this color just because. Of course, if I do something larger, I'll need more. But, it's just fun to grab a piece. Then I got a whole bunch of patterns. I haven't bought patterns in a while, so I did buy a bunch here. Tiny Modernist, Cute Crocodile. I just had to. I like Tiny Modernist. It was cute. I have no plans for that, but I wanted to buy it. I did get the Prairie Schooler this year's Santa. So this is the 2025 Santa. I know that a lot of people have mixed feelings on this. I won't stitch the words. I won't stitch the kind of backstitched border. I don't do that on any of them. And I'm thinking I might not stitch the snowflake coming in or the snowflakes here. I think I might just stitch Santa being a little cheeky, throwing a snowball at somebody. I thought that might be fun. So I did that. Then this is a series of 3. I don't have any plans to stitch them as one, and I wasn't loving number 2 as much. So I bought 1 and 3 from Jardin Privé. You know how much I love Jardin Privé. I'm thinking these could each be stitched separately. There is a section here if you want to see. You can do a whole long stitch if you want. Jardin Privé likes to do that sometimes. I didn't do that. And I'm thinking this one for sure in the scrapbook. Although I could even see stitching just this section because that's beautiful. And then I love this one. Whether that went into the scrapbook or was a leaner, I don't know. It is 100 by 104. So it's bigger than I realized, I think. So there's those 2. I wasn't done with Jardin Privé though. I picked up My Lady's Quaker. And the reason I picked it up is because I already own Gentleman's Quaker. And so I've been wanting to get this one. I saw it. I said, well, I might as well get it. Now, I'm not going to stitch them on one piece of fabric, but I'm going to put them in the scrapbook as a 2-part collection. 160 by 160. So yeah, it'll be a 9 by 9 on 18 count. So that'll also fit in a 12 by 12 easily. I think that would be fun side by side. So I picked those up. Well, I picked this one up. Already had this one. And I have been wanting each year. I've been putting this into my 2-stitch pile. So maybe this year that'll happen. I picked this up and I've convinced Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner to stitch this with me in July. This is from Blueberry Ridge Designs, Sampler Holidays Christmas. Mary and I are both stitching autumn right now, the sampler seasons. If you want to see winter finished, Janet Jabber finished winter and has I haven't watched her this week, so I'm not sure where she is in spring, but I know she had started spring. And it's beautiful. I think about her winter one all the time. It's beautiful. But I think Mary and I for Christmas in July are going to stitch this one. So if you want to join us, if you want to, we're going to do that. I picked this one up because I do like the bumblebees and I love the etched style that Heart and Hand has created with a series of patterns. I'm thinking next February, maybe I'll stitch this bee right here. I'm not going to stitch them as a set, one piece, but separately I would stitch them. And then they can either be like, they'd be cute little ornaments or whatever. And so I think next February, Carla, I'm already ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. I have no specific plans for this one. It is Basket and Butterflies by Hello from Liz Matthews. I'm thinking if I stitch, I might just do the basket of flowers. And I'm not sure if I would do them blue or another color. Or I stitch everything, but maybe the butterflies or maybe like a deep purple or something. So we'll see. No specific plans on that. Then these last two are from a new, to me, designer. I know they have an Etsy shop. They have a website, so they're not new, but just new to me. I had never heard of Fine Frog Stitching before. This one's Amphibian Alchemist. A frog with the little hat on and the whole bit. And this almost reminds me of Starry Night. Just so cool. So I picked that one up. Now this one, I never thought. So this one I want to do a stitch along with. And I've thought of a hashtag for it that just fits me to a T. I love watching kind of the vintage stitching. I love seeing what Amy does from Renewing Stitches with some of the vintage looks. Jen from Jen's Fiberweb takes a lot of those older kits and stitches them. I'm in the process of watching Jen's video right now, and she just did I'm going to put her name down. She just did a Precious Moments stitch. And so I love all of those. Not 100% my style. And one of the things that's always in a lot of those is a goose, right? And I've never thought I'd stitch a goose. Well, I was shopping and I saw this one from Fine Frog. And I didn't pull it into my pile originally. And I looked again, and I couldn't stop thinking about this adorable goose with a strawberry sweater and a witch's hat. So I had to buy it. So this is Strawberry Goose Witch. I'm planning on stitching this. Hashtag never thought I'd stitch a goose SAL. So if you'd like to join me, please do so. And Jen, you talked about maybe wanting to do this. So you want to do this with me too? Maybe I can come up to the store and we can start it together. It's too cute, just too cute. So if you'd like to stitch it with me, let me know. I have no idea when I'm starting it though. I will tell you that. I do kind of like this fabric color. It's a Witchell actually called Stony Point. I bet you Fabrics by Stephanie, my Friendship Green would look nice too. My 18 count. So we'll see. It's not huge, 74 by 106. So a nice little size. So there's that. And that is all of the stuff I bought. But if you're still here, Jen very graciously said I would love to do a gift discount code for the viewers of your videos. And I said, oh, that's so nice of you. So if you use SHORE 15, Shore 15, you'll get 15% off of your order at Floss and Flame until May 11th. And you get free shipping on cross stitch. So if you're not local, but you would like to support a very sweet, very nice person, if you go to Jen's website, Floss and Flame, I don't know if it says it here. Yep, flossandflame.com. You can go shopping. And I know Jen had said anything that I wanted that she did not have, she would do her very best to get for me. So I'm sure she seems so nice. The same thing, if there's a pattern that you would really like and Jen doesn't have it, reach out to her and ask her if it's something she can get, and she can ship it to you, free shipping on cross stitch. So Shore 15, I'll put that in the notes and I'll keep reminding you until May 11th. So if you have this urge to do a little bit of shopping, then you get a little bit of a discount. That was so nice, Jen. Thank you. And I had such a good time visiting with you and at your store. So thank you for being such a wonderful stitching host. All right. That was it for shopping. I just went all out and all in on my trip to Floss and Flame. So now if you don't want to hear life, then have a great one. And I will see you next time around. Life hasn't been super exciting. I had physical therapy on Monday. Needed it. We'll just say I may have cried at the physical therapist because I was in a bad way, but they were very sweet there, and I'm better now. Tuesday, Mo took the day off from work on Tuesday. We had to go for our yearly dermatologist check, and while there are plenty of dermatologists down here in southern Delaware, we had done a search, and because when you're looking for new doctors, you Google and all that. And there's a doctor up in Christiana, which is up in the top county, the northern area of Delaware, that got phenomenal reviews, like 5 stars, something like over 75 reviews, 5 stars. We're like, this is the doctor we want because you don't mess around with skin stuff. And Christiana's about an hour and a half away. So what we do is we have back-to-back appointments. This is the second year we've done this, and Mo takes a day off. We go up. anything you want to find is in Christiana, to be honest with you. I could probably spend 2 days shopping there and still not hit everything I wanted. So we hit especially the things that I can't get down here in Rehoboth. We had our appointment. Yay, everything was all right. I've got a clean bill of health. And so the doctor said, unless there's something that shows up or pops up, you are good till next year. So I already know next April, I'm heading back up again. Then we went to Costco because we do not have a Costco down here. And I love Costco. Walked the whole store. I have to say, between the drive up and then all the walking in the stores we did, I was sore that night. Not going to lie about it, but I was able to do it. I didn't have to bring my cane, and the third store, big place, I kind of cut short a little bit, but it was okay. It was much better than I was potentially expecting. So we hit Costco, stored up on stuff. Then we headed over to Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. We don't have a Trader Joe's down here. And there's certain specific Trader Joe brand things that we like. So we were like, okay, we got to get all of these. So we did that. And then we like to, I think you know by now, we don't eat out a ton. We like to I don't like to cook, but it's just easier. I think we cook pretty good. I'm vegan, Mo's vegetarian. It's just easier to cook at home. And we cook a lot of Asian types of foods. There are no Asian grocery stores down here. So we get what we can at the grocery stores, but it's not everything that we need. And so sometimes, yes, you can order online, but sometimes it's just nice to go in person. So Mo did a little Googling, and right around the same area where Trader Joe's and Costco was, there is a huge Asian supermarket, grocery store. It was amazing. Walked in, oh my gosh. Now, I only saw maybe about a third of the store because by then I was starting to flag and everything was starting to get a little bit too sore. So I didn't want to really push myself, but it was amazing. I was like a kid in a candy store. Oh my gosh, looking at all the stuff and all of the different options and just a million versions of things that I can only find one version of at a regular grocery store. So if you're looking for an Asian grocery store and you were up in Christiana area, there is a wonderful one. I would suggest it. And so then we popped on down to Dover on our way back home. We stopped at Floss and Flame. I had a fantastic time there. We grabbed some lunch there's a place called Mod Pizza. If you need things like, they do have a gluten-free crust because you can do you do custom size pizzas, the small. I don't have a gluten problem, but that is an option. But they do offer vegan options as well. And so both Mo and I got pizzas that were essentially vegan. And what's nice is that gave us 2 meals. That gave us that kind of late lunch. And then the next day you pop it in the air fryer and it was a second lunch. So it was wonderful. So I would suggest that if you're ever in the Dover area, especially if you have any type of food issues that maybe you need something that's a little bit different. And then I did offer from Dover to back home to drive, but Mo said no, he was fine, he'd do it. So I got lots of stitching in all the way up the first hour and a half and then all the way down with that little stop in between. And that's why I got so much done on summer refreshes, because that's the only piece I brought. I generally will do monochromatic when I'm in the car like that because I find that's the easiest. So that was that. And then I had a couple of Zooms this week. One was a one-on-one and one was just it was a group of friends, and I had a blast at both of them. Really enjoyed myself, and it just made the week just so special. So thank you to all of you who Zoomed with me. Again, I know I've said this to them before, but they help make life a little less lonely when, you are just hanging out on your lonesome stitching. It's so much nicer to have somebody to stitch with. And I think that's it. It is raining and yucky, and we're doing leftovers for dinner tonight. I'm not even cooking. I have a whole second set of meals from what we had cooked earlier in the week, so I'm good there. I might try to do some stitching. Oh, I did start something yesterday, but when I start something for Thursday afternoons, I generally don't show it till the following week, and I'm hoping I'll have some really good progress. Maybe that one I'll do 100 stitches a day on, just to kind of see what I can do progress-wise. So stay tuned next week for that, and also for my potential pretzel stitch. And let me know if you want to stitch any of these things I've gotten along with me, because I'm always up for it. And that's about it, I guess. So I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. And take care of yourself. Remember, you matter. You are important. And until next time, happy stitching.